Thank you so much for tuning into the first episode of Recast. Unfortunately, with this being our first episode, we are still working out some of the kinks, and this first episode's audio is slightly degraded and almost has like a slight echo throughout most of the podcast. I apologize if anything is hard to hear or is even too loud. This will for sure be fixed in future episodes. Thank you, and enjoy listening to the first episode of Recast. Welcome to Recast, a podcast where we make a friendly competition out of recasting your favorite movie, TV, and comic book characters.
Pizza time.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
Wanna know how I got these scars?
I hope they remember you.
Hasta la vista, baby.
This week's episode focuses on recasting the Fantastic Four into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Jack, Reese, and myself, Connor, will be casters, while Kieran will be judging and moderating this episode. Since this is the first episode, I figured I would explain the format of this podcast. Every week, 3 people will go head-to-head trying to find the best casting for the characters that were given to them pre-recording. The 4th member will act as the judge/moderator and will critique each of the casters' picks, along with pick their favorite out of the 3. The caster with the most winning casting choices will be deemed the winner of the episode, and will go on to be the judge in the next episode. If you are interested a little more about this group's personalities and what we love, I highly suggest checking out the short About the Casters episode that we published right before this one, either right now or after listening to our first episode. This week on Recast, I am joined by the contestants Jack,
Howdy.
Reese,
What up?
and then myself, Connor, and the judging and moderating this week's podcast will be Kieran.
Heyo.
So, Kieran, I'm going to kind of send it over to you. You will be moderating the competition. We're getting our picks ready.
Alright, so recasting Fantastic Four is a very hot topic, considering how the MCU, its next phase, is definitely going to be looking at these 4 sets of characters, 5 including the arch nemesis Victor Von Doom. So I think we're going to start off with a man who needs no introduction, Reed Richards. I'm going to start with Connor. I'm going to start with you.
Me? Okay.
Let's see what you got.
With Reed Richards, there's been all sorts of talks about who should play him. These 4 characters have been all over the place. Some people have perfect casting, some just have random casting that makes 0 sense. I've been trying to avoid the super common ones you see on Instagram Photoshop posts and casting accounts and stuff like that. And the actor that I chose for Reed Richards is pretty known at this point, and unfortunately he may be actually connected in the MCU because he's going to be in a future Sony film, but we don't know what is going on with that stuff yet, so I picked him anyway. My cast for Reed Richards is none other than the 11th Doctor, Matt Smith.
Wow, that is certainly...
I think so I chose him for a few reasons. I think first of all, he actually has kind of the look to it. He has the smart guy, not necessarily friendly, but he has he doesn't have an evil person face. He's been a good guy, obviously, with his main role. But he also has sort of this, I don't know how to say it. I'm not trying to roast his face or anything, but kind of rubbery face looking thing that could go with the powers of having these stretching abilities. Not only that, he obviously has proved himself as a leader and a main cast member in Doctor Who, where he's literally running the whole show pretty much on his own with the little blurbs from the companions and villains and stuff like that. So those are the main reason I chose him. I think he's a good age where he's not too old and too grizzly or anything like that, and he's not too young where we're going back to Fan Four Stick where they chose teenagers to play the characters.
I agree. I didn't expect that choice. It's a pretty good choice. I can see why you'd want Matt Smith. He can totally do an American accent. He can totally nail the smart leader. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. That's a really good choice.
Yeah, unfortunately, he was casted in Morbius as probably the villain, so I don't know how that's gonna go.
And they've killed off. Who cares?
And they've already shown that somehow Adrian Toomes is in that movie, so it might be connected to the MCU. I don't know how that's gonna work. Right, but for now, that's
we'll just wait and see. But until then, the 11th Doctor will always be his one big role until he decides to be Mr. Stretchy Man himself. All right, let's move on. Jack, let's see what you got.
For Mr. Fantastic, aka Reed Richards, I originally looked at some of the popular ones, seeing why they might have been popular, and looking at probably debatably the most popular fan cast for that character at the moment is John Krasinski. I was like, sure, that makes sense. He's got the look, but he looks a little too young. He might be not exactly the senior leader of the Fantastic Four that a lot of people would be thinking of. And generally, I decided to go with someone older, maybe a little bit of a stretch, but I feel like John Hamm has the look, the age, and is overall just relatively fit for the role. He's tall, he's charismatic, but he's also shown in multiple TV shows and movies that he's able to play the smart guy.
John Hamm. You know, John Hamm is a very, he has got a lot of range. He can go from being a suave, cocky guy to being the villain like in Baby Driver, being a cold-hearted criminal. But John Hamm is definitely a very good choice. I'd say that if John Hamm isn't already got an MCU role, unless Marvel really does not have a role for him yet, I think Mr. Fantastic would be a perfect fit for John Hamm. So, good job. That's a great choice, Jack. Really
I kind of got just like called out these first two because I chose John Krasinski.
So here's the thing about John Krasinski. I don't disagree with your pick, and I don't really think you have to explain why John Krasinski is perfect or not, because he's already actually shown interest of being in the MCU, and he's already been on board of being Mr. Fantastic, and I think he's a perfect choice as well, and that is, I'd say that's a really good choice because that's probably the most realistic one, and it's probably going to happen. So, with that being said, I love Connor and Jack's picks very much. I love how they're very different, and I love how they're both very much possible. But if we're going off ones that are the best and going off ones that are most realistic, and if we're going off an actor who clearly has interest in the role, I think I have to give it to Reese. John Krasinski has shown numerous interests in being in the MCU, and him including even Emily Blunt in that as well would be almost a perfect match made in heaven. So I gotta say, this first casting goes to Reese.
Cool. That makes sense to me.
Do you have a problem with that? Do you want to like hit me in the head with a hammer? Or was that an alright?
I mean, that's kind of why I said that, like, he's probably the most popular casting because it makes the most sense.
Yeah.
I agree. Perfect. All right. Good choice. All right, guys.
Cool.
The next character, because I want to get to this one immediately, because this is one character I wanted in the MCU and one character that I need to play off my good old friend Peter Parker. We're going to go on to none other than Johnny Storm, Human Torch. Let's see what you got. Let's start with Connor.
Okay, well before this, I'm going to expose Kieran just a little bit, and he texted us and told us if we casted Zac Efron as Johnny Storm, then we would get an absolute 0 on this.
Yes,
don't worry.
Correct.
Don't worry. I did not choose Zac Efron. I did not choose Zac Efron, but I did choose a pick that you're probably going to just might as well give me like a -10 for anyway. But
Okay.
people who open their eyes and just look at the one film that this actor has done can open their eyes, kind of think about the type of character that he played in that one movie and translate that to the Johnny Storm character, because it's pretty accurate. And I'm just going to stop rambling and I'm just going to tell you, Kieran. So my pick is none other than what he's obviously known for. This one film's obviously what he's known for. Nothing else. It's this one film. I picked Harry Styles to play Johnny Storm.
Trash.
And no, listen. If you've seen his one film that he's obviously not known for, not anything else, he's totally not a part of a boy band and doesn't do his own music or anything like that.
All in one film.
His one film is Dunkirk by Christopher Nolan, and he doesn't play, like, none of the roles in that movie really are super small. He's obviously one of the side characters, but there's that one, the main scene that comes to mind is when they're in the boat and they're getting shot at, and this boat is sinking and stuff like that, he just plays the sort of like cocky, but not necessarily like I hate you like bully type character. He's just kind of full of himself, but trying to kind of help everyone else. But he also has sort of some like leading capabilities that he's kind of suppressing. Like you can tell he could be a leader, but he's not using those as much. I don't know. If you haven't seen the film, then it's hard to explain because that's all. Otherwise, you would just know him from One Direction and his music. But I think he's the right age if we're casting John Krasinski, or we're casting Reed Richards in his like 30s to 40s, because he'll be like 20, closer to 30. Harry Styles will be around that age. So yeah, and he has the look other than the blonde hair, and if you really needed blonde hair, then you could just bleach his hair and it would probably look just as fine because he looks good overall.
So Connor loses.
I tried. I tried.
He's definitely not going to be judged next round, I think. Okay, so I see your points, but One Direction fans.
Hey,
that
brings in One Direction fans to the MCU though. That exposes them to more films.
One Direction. We already got Tom Holland stands. We already got Chris Evans stands. We already got Sebastian stands. Literally Sebastian stands. And,
Sebastian stands.
I think I like this choice, and I don't think he's terrible, but just knowing that this would add something to the MCU that I don't think people want, because the whole thing about how I look at this is this guy literally is already he's way too like out there. Like he's a pop star, he's an actor. I mean, like it's two things that are already like big, and I can't really see like Harry Styles, because again, when I think of Harry Styles, all I think about is like One Direction, which sucks. And I haven't seen Dunkirk, and that might be because I haven't gotten around to it, and that's probably why I don't see Harry Styles as being on torch. But I
understand. It's a hard pick to justify when he doesn't have anything other than One Direction in your mind. But I saw that film, and I thought about this a long time ago. Like I was like, you know what, like people are casting these like pretty like famous actors already, like Zac Efron, and I just don't see it. And I saw him in this film, and I was like, this is someone who absolutely no one is saying to be casted, and he would actually probably do a good job. So it was hard for me to justify, but I understand it, your viewpoint on it.
I'm gonna go with my good old Simon Cowell response. It's a no from me. It's a no. So let's move on. Jack, if you disappoint me and if you pick someone even worse, you will just be evaporated. So you can go, just go for it.
I'd like to.
In your hands.
Well, I'm probably gonna make it burn then, because I chose that.
And ladies and gentlemen, Jack,
I'm messing with you. I didn't choose Zac Efron.
Okay, good.
Oh no.
My official choice was Bradley James. He's a British American actor. He won his first role on the BBC pilot show Disconnected. They were really impressed with his work in that show, the creators, and they cast him as a young King Arthur on the show Merlin.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
So he was in that. He was also in Underworld Blood Wars that came out in 2016. He's demonstrated that he's capable of not only being serious, but also kind of having a joking manner. He was also in the movie Medici, which came out last year. He was in iZombie as a side character as well. If you look him up on virtually anything, he's 6 feet tall, he's thin, he's got a nice build, he's blonde, and he's youthful. He pretty much fits the character perfectly.
You know what? Coming from Harry Styles to Bradley James, I gotta give it to you. That is a very solid pick. I might not know him, and I might not have seen things he's been in, but he definitely looked the part. So I gotta say, Jack, you kind of hit it on the head on this one. So I'm gonna give it to you. That one I'm gonna give it to you.
What about
move on to Reese?
Oh.
Unless you got more.
You're not gonna like mine or know mine at all, because mine he's been in like a Disney Channel show.
Reese, let's see yours.
Reese, Cameron Boyce is dead.
Oh no.
If it was Cameron Boyce, then you would automatically get a 0.
I chose
and who? Who did you choose?
Benward.
Who? Who? See, I don't even know who Bradley James is, but I don't even know who.
I knew Bradley James from Merlin. That's what. Oh wait, it's the How to Eat Fried Worms kid.
Yeah, it's that kid.
Oh! It's the guy from the main guy in How to Eat Fried Worms.
So.
And Minutemen, the classic.
The whole gimmick of the MCU is taking people that nobody knows and making them popular.
Wait a minute. He's in Minutemen, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know
He was in Minutemen, How to Eat
He's
Fried
in
Worms.
so many he was in so many Disney
He was in We Were Soldiers as
Good
also.
luck, Charlie.
Life of a
Was he
Party.
good in any of this? Because I've only seen him in Minutemen, and I thought he was pretty solid in that. And even though that movie was cheesy and goofy.
How to
and
Eat Fried
everything,
Worms. But this is when he's like a kid. I've only seen his kid stuff.
Well, So
He is a lot more muscular than Bradley James, I will give.
Yeah.
which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
I mean, Human
But
Torch.
experience.
Human Torch isn't
the
exactly
jock
a.
look.
He's not exactly a weightlifter.
Yeah.
Human Torch.
Yeah.
You see,
He's like ripped.
I'm trying to just think. I'm just trying to picture this.
Oh, Harry Styles.
Luke Luke Benward.
That was in my brain for a minute, and I never wanted to see it.
Luke Benward is 6'2", by the way.
Okay.
Whole gimmick of the MCU is like casting people that nobody knows.
Okay. You know what? I think Luke Benward's a pretty good choice, but this is a tough one. You presented 2.
I'll just hide in the corner.
So, I understand that you think that Harry Styles is fit for a Marvel film. It's okay that you were wrong, but maybe you need to figure out the point. If Harry Styles is in a Marvel movie, I'm not watching it. That's the point I'm gonna make. I'm kidding. It's not that bad. It's really not. Harry Styles isn't a bad choice, but I personally just don't love that idea. So I already gave Reese one, so you know what? I think, Jack, you get this one. Bradley James was a really good pick, so I'm gonna give it to you. Jack, you get it. Yeah.
That's a yeet from me, boys.
You got the torch.
Yeah, I thought Harry Styles was like the best pick, but I'm not the judge. So.
Reese, you are gonna be. If you were judge, I pity. You and Connor both share the same misguided views about who should be who in this world. So, all right. I guess we should move on to Miss Fantastic. Oh,
Miss Fantastic.
Miss.
Wait, something's wrong there.
Miss Sue Storm. Let's go for this one. So I know that there's obviously going to be one that someone's gonna put in here that obviously is gonna go with the first one that we did. So
Yeah.
let's just.
I was gonna pick that.
So Connor, actually, you know what? No, Connor, I'm gonna save you for last. Maybe Reese, you're gonna go first. Let's start with you for.
All right, you're just you know who I'm gonna pick because I picked Emily Blunt.
All right. See, that's not a bad choice.
Her and John Krasinski already have the chemistry, and I honestly couldn't think of anyone else.
I just wanted to get yours out of the way because I knew you were gonna pick her, and it's fine if you picked her.
Yeah.
A bigger deal. So, Jack, who you got?
I chose Charlize Theron. She fits the build, the look. She's still youthful despite her age. She has blonde hair. And we've seen her in basically every role she plays. She's capable of being emotional, but also pretty badass in stuff like Mad Max and She was just in Atomic Blonde.
Yeah. And that new movie that just came out, the Oscar one, what's it called?
Oceans.
No, Bombshell, yeah.
Yeah, Bombshell. Yeah, last year.
Okay. She's not a bad pick. That's not bad. That's pretty good. Connor, you disappointed me already.
Well,
You better,
I might
this better
disappoint
be-
you again.
If it's Harry Styles' wife, we're good.
You know, I didn't do much that far into research. She could be Harry Styles' wife, and I have no idea. But
Okay, well,
It's Simon
he
Cowell.
definitely doesn't. Wait, I don't think he has a wife, but whatever. Yeah, so my pick is Simon Cowell for Invisible. Oh, I'm just kidding. So I actually chose another One Direction member, and Niall Horan for Invisible Women is my next. No. So I went with an actress who actually had chemistry with Matt Smith in a Netflix show, The Crown, but that's probably not what she's known for, because she was in another movie over the summer that's kind of a hit blockbuster, Hobbs and Shaw. I went with Vanessa Kirby, who she's shown she has the action chops. She has the blonde hair, obviously. She's around the same age as or she's a little younger than John Krasinski or whoever the male lead for Mr. Fantastic would be. But I think that she's shown that she has good acting capabilities and more than just the kind of damsel in distress. She's shown she has like capabilities in action films and stuff like that. If you've seen Hobbs and Shaw, which you should if you haven't, 'cause it's actually good.
She was in Mission Impossible Fallout too.
Oh yeah, she was. That's what else she was in.
She is very British.
Yeah,
Very British.
that's true. But like most actresses and actors can usually pull off an American accent.
True.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, okay. Well,
Okay.
alright. I guess everyone's presented Invisible Woman, huh?
That's
exactly what we just did.
Connors came and went. Connor, you were just
Dude, I am just. My Fantastic Four is just terrible today. Or any day, I guess.
You started strong.
It's fine.
Matt
Hey,
Smith.
it's fine. I'll win Doctor Doom. Just keep.
We'll see. Oh, we'll see about that. If you pick someone awful, okay.
He picked Zayn.
Sorry, Reese kind of got you. I'm sorry. Emily Blunt is the perfect pick. You know it. It's obvious. It's too good. You can't go wrong with Emily Blunt. Both of them are perfect together. I mean, together in real life. So, I'm sorry, Jack and Connor. It seems that you both have been beaten by Reese once again.
Yeah.
And Reese really be beating you guys this time, huh?
We've been bamboozled. We've been fooled.
All right. Let's get the
I
big
just picked the
slugger
two
out.
most cliche picks.
Yeah.
Let's get the big slugger out of the way. Let's get the one that's gonna knock it out of the park, and this is gonna be the hardest one you're probably gonna do today. And I'm excited to see you pick. We're gonna do Ben Grimm, also known as The Thing. Let's see who's got this. Jack, you're gonna go first this time.
Well, I kind of strayed a little bit away from the typical what you would expect kind of fan cast. I was looking at people that share kind of a stoic kind of nature in certain movies, because he's not exactly a happy guy. He's pretty grumpy most of the time. Right, and seeing him, you know, like generally the Thing is like he has jokes too. He's not like Batman level stoic, but he's also not like the most humorous guy out there. He's not quite as much of a jokester as Human Torch. So I was looking at people that can balance out humor and toughness, and I was like, so who's tall? Who have we seen in superhero movies recently? Who's got a big build? Who's pretty strong? And I generally came to the conclusion that Terry Crews would be a decent Thing.
Terry wants my yogurt.
Jack, my friend.
You know, that's not terrible.
It's not terrible, but I mean,
My boy.
listen to Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Beautiful Jack,
roll
boy. I don't want Old Spice Guy. That's the thing. I'm really sorry that I don't want him. I'm not racist. But here's the thing about Terry Crews.
The Thing.
I don't see him as the Thing. That's the biggest problem.
So you're telling me that you can't see him as the Thing because he's black? You really don't think he's orange, right? Like,
so we should go with Trump.
bruh.
I get it. Like, I get why you chose him. I do, but like,
You don't have to keep trying to be nice. Just move on.
I think. Okay, let me just say this. My opinion is, the thing about the Thing, is his voice is the only thing that really is gonna be left after you see the transformation. Terry Crews is a great actor. He's been in so much. He's amazing in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and he would be a good Ben Grimm. But when he transforms into the Thing, you're left with the Terry Crews voice, which doesn't really work. Coming out of, sure, he already is this buff man, but coming out of a rock monster that's supposed to be like sad and mopey and angry about the position he's put into, and that's where I just can't.
Anybody else, and I think he'd be great as that.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't even have to be a race, like, character. Like, doesn't have to be Luke Cage or any of the ones that people usually typecast him as. He can be anything he wants to be, but him as Ben Grimm is just something I can't really see. So, Jack, get out. I'm kidding. You're fired. We'll see. Alright, Connor, just come on. Do something good.
Okay.
Please?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm going to absolutely butcher this guy's name, and I'm sorry, you guys probably know who he is, just based on the way I'm going to say his name here and be like, oh, I've seen that name before.
Oh, no.
But I'm just going for it. So, I think his name is Adewale Akunoe Egbahe. He was...
Show me who it is.
He was in...
Adewale Ogunleye?
Yeah, sure.
I think.
He was in... the first G.I. Joe film, and he was in Lost, and he was Killer Croc in Suicide Squad. That's not what I ignore that. Ignore that I just said that. But I think he has the voice acting capabilities with that. He has like already a role where he's been covered in makeup and practically CG at this point, and he's just had to do voice acting, so he's good for that. He isn't the classic like white guy look that everyone thinks that the Thing was like has been in the comics, so I don't think that's like a bad thing. I think that's good. It's fine to change a character like that up because it doesn't really matter. He has the deep voice in Heavy Duty, if you remember Rise of Cobra, which was not an amazing film, but the acting wasn't terrible in that movie. He had the sort of like side character, buff guy, big guy kind of like protector character. I haven't seen anything else he's really been in recently, so I don't know what he's been doing. But yeah, that's just my pick for the Thing.
I mean, more recently than G.I. Joe, he was in Pompeii, but...
Yeah, I never saw that film.
Excuse me. I actually really like that. That's not bad. I can see that one. Because that one, he's not like super buff, and he's not like super like, he's not in a ton of stuff, which I like, so I won't like know him right away, and I think that's what the MCU needs. They need more people who we don't know that much. So you know what? I'm gonna give that one. That's a good pick. You are definitely in the consideration. That's perfect. Unless Reese got one that's like really good. Reese, this is it. This is your
I
time.
mean, all right. You've heard his voice.
Not possible, so I'm sorry. Keep going.
Heard his voice in the nacho fries commercial.
What?
No. I know where he's going. I don't like it.
He was in Transformers next to Shia LaBeouf.
No.
And he was in some commercial for like Nebraska or something. I chose Josh Duhamel.
Oh no.
Did you pick?
Wait.
Show me.
I'm bringing up a picture. Here you
Let
go.
me see who this
This is IMDb.
To his voice.
I know exactly who he is. You chose literally like Johnny Storm for the Thing almost look-wise.
Reese, my boy. I like the voice, but at the end of the day, it'd have to be of like, does this guy not want to show his face other than like for 10 minutes and then completely be gone and just have a voice and be an orange rock monster? Because that's 100%
Getting paid a lot of money if he's in an MCU movie, so I don't truly care.
But just to... I just don't... See, that's weird. That's the one I don't see. That's another one I completely don't see. And you think, because I'm a white male, I'd be more happy with a white man than a white character. But that's not the case at all, because I don't care about Sue's character. Race doesn't matter to me when casting, by the way. I was going to say that race does not matter when you're casting. You can cast anybody for anything, because that's literally what acting is. Actors can be anyone they want.
Unless they don't get cast.
I'm going to punch you in the mouth. So, you know what? I have...
Wait. Before you make your pick, can I just say something?
Yeah.
Can I just call out Marvel and Disney for a sec and just tell them how much of a mistake it is that they casted David Harbour into Black Widow and didn't wait to use him for the Thing? Because he literally would have been perfect.
So
They had the Thing right there, like, in their hands. He wanted to be in the MCU, and they're like, you know what? We're gonna make you play a fat Russian guy in Black Widow instead.
And literally no one's ever heard of except for diehard comic fans.
Exactly.
No one knows who Guardian is. Like, nobody knows who Red Guardian is. So, or is it Red Guardian, Red Guardian? Who
It's
cares?
Red Guardian.
Who cares? Who cares? That's what I say about him. About his character. So Adewale, who had that pick?
You have to pronounce the whole entire name for me to be able to get the credit. I'm aware.
God, Connor. I'm not gonna try this. This is not gonna be pleasant for me.
Just say Adewale, we'll all get it.
Adewale
Keep going.
is
going.
no, I'm not.
Keep going. Aquino.
Adewale, Akinoe, Ajbaha. I can't. Connor wins. There you go. All right.
Sweet.
Without further ado,
I'm going.
to the big one. This is the one that I've been wanting to talk about because this is the one everybody gets wrong.
I'm
Victor
probably
Von
gonna get it
Doom.
wrong.
Victor Von Doom is unbelievably important not only to the MCU, but to the Fantastic Four, and being is one of the most interesting villains in Marvel comics. And I've been wanting to see this character done in big screen adaptation for such a long time. 2 movies have already came out that have completely... Oh, no, wait, I'm sorry. 3 movies have came out that have completely butchered this character. First one was close. No cigar. Second one, why? Third one, don't even talk about it. So let's just do it. Victor Von Doom.
Can I go last?
You can go last, Jack. Thank you for asking. And I'm going to give it to Connor first.
Alright. I'm not choosing Matthew McConaughey, don't worry. No. You know, I'm looking at my list one more time. And Victor Von Doom, if I'm not mistaken, is most likely European, right? Because he owns, or does he just own a country?
Usually...
Well, Latveria.
Latveria is in Europe.
Yeah.
So usually the European. I'm looking at my list. I casted 4 Europeans for the Fantastic Four, and yet casted an American for Doctor Doom. So I obviously messed this whole thing up. However,
Get out!
However, I chose an actor who is up and rising, and arguably one of my favorite actors right now. He's Oscar nominated, and he's played a villain. He's already played a villain and did a good job. I chose Adam Driver to play Victor Von Doom.
Never mind, I don't know who it is.
You know, Connor?
Owen.
That's a solid pick. That's
It's
it.
over.
You redeemed yourself. That is probably the single-handedly best pick you've done all of this round. You haven't had a single one that Matt's
I don't even want to do mine.
I told you I was gonna win Doctor Doom.
I hope Adam Driver doesn't like taking off his mask to show his face because he's never taking it off.
True.
My turn.
Adam Driver, alright, Reese. You better get some.
I don't even want to compete with that, so I'm just gonna say mine. I chose Wes Bentley.
Who is that?
I'm gonna have to see who that is first.
Yeah.
He's in Hunger Games.
Oh, he's Blackheart, isn't he?
Let me see this.
Art in Ghost Rider.
No. No, Reese. No, Reese. No, not Blackheart. No.
It's not actually that. He was in Interstellar too. It's not a terrible pick.
My buddy,
Yeah.
My buddy, but no, we're not. Sorry.
It's not awful. I'll agree with you.
That's you're where Connor is. You're where Connor is. You go back to now. You're his Connor. You're with that spot now. All right, Jack. You wanted to go last, so here's your request. Last but not least, Jack.
So if you look up anywhere on the internet, if you look up Doctor Doom face reveal, you will find that he is young. He's incredibly handsome. He's got brown hair. He's short brown hair at that. He's got a very chiseled appearance in both the older and modern look underneath the helmet, and he is at the end of the day, I was looking at people that aren't technically in the MCU but have played Marvel villains, and I was like, who fits this look pretty well, is also got that fairly tall, kind of muscular build, and is very good at playing someone who's more unhinged the more his character develops. And I was like, well, we know that Michael Fassbender can play a pretty good villain.
Oh, that one's actually good. I knew you were gonna say that.
The choice of Kieran's life.
That one's actually good.
That.
Appearance, acting capability, just overall his ability to be intimidating.
Well,
It fits.
your boys. The game's
We
over.
fried him.
Game's over. Jack just wins, man. There's nothing I can do. Michael Fassbender. You don't even know. There's no.
Michael Fassbender.
That's just a sentence right there. Michael Fassbender. Michael Fass. Bender Michael.
Alright, well, Jack wins that. Alright, so now we have.
Jack are tied.
How did I forget about him? I thought about it too. I was like, oh, you know who'd be a good Doctor Doom? Michael Fassbender. You know, I'm gonna choose Adam Driver instead. Whatever. I just forgot about him.
You guys are tied.
Tied. So
Oh, you two are tied?
how is there a tiebreaker to see who judges?
You wanna know how we're gonna do it? Everyone stop, listen here. We're gonna do a tiebreaker. I didn't plan on this at all, but we're doing it now.
Get it.
You guys are gonna have to cast off the spot. I'll give you 2 minutes to do some research. You guys are casting a weird villain in the Fantastic Four. You guys are casting Mole Man, so go ahead. You can look up pictures of Mole Man,
Oh my god.
and you and Reese will fight it out
Guess
for Mole
what?
Man.
I already know.
This is gonna be. If someone picks who I think they're picking, immediately I will.
Oh, I already know.
Danny
I already
DeVito is
know.
disqualified.
No. somebody else within a movie that really did very well. If someone can figure out who this actor is who has a notable reputation playing wacky characters, you will literally get the win. I'm serious. You cast.
Well, the one person I'm thinking about is already in an MCU movie.
Hold on. Reese, is that actually your pick?
Joke.
Oh, well, if it's a joke, well, it looks like you failed because Jim Carrey was the choice, but you were joking. Now people know that Jim Carrey would be my favorite pick for it, but...
Jim Carrey.
No, too bad, wasted it. Could have just said it was your pick, Reese, you failed, you just took a win, you took the L, actually.
I'm not gonna lie, there are a couple of decent ones we could choose for this, though. That aren't.
Oh, there's
Danny DeVito.
definitely picks that aren't Danny
Alright,
DeVito.
well, someone needs to, come on.
I'll give you guys have one more minute, and then
One more minute, guys.
I'm gonna ask for an answer.
I'm gonna choose the worst one. I'm kidding. I know that's good. That's... can't be Jim Carrey because Bruce blew it because he said he was joking.
Actual pick, and then I thought you were gonna hate it, so I said I was joking.
Wait, that was your actual pick?
But it's not my pick anymore, cause.
Oh, well, damn, dude. You really just screwed yourself. Now you don't get a win.
Maybe
you'll get a win. Maybe you'll get a win. You don't know. You might.
unlikely.
It's super unlikely that you're gonna get that one. But we'll wait and see, my compadre. Someone's gotta go. Come on.
Give me
Or how
one
much time
second.
we got, Connor?
You guys are done. You guys need to have a pick in
I have
3,
one question for
2,
you, Kieran.
1.
What?
Are we going with a more silly or serious kind of
Just
casting here?
wacky funny, because he's a stupid villain.
Alright, cool. I got mine.
Yeah, me too.
Alright, guys.
Ready? I'm gonna go first.
Present it.
Goes Bill Hader.
What?
Bill Hader.
Really?
He can be super wacky. Have you seen Hot Rod?
Okay, Bill Hader. Okay,
course
I
he
don't disagree with him on this.
He can pull off the look.
Okay, Bill Hader. Okay, alright. Alright, Jack, you got
Actor.
one up it.
Actually, no.
Jack Black. How did I not think of
Say
that?
that again.
Jack Black.
I want Jack Black as Mole Man.
I don't know. I feel like he fits. We know he's capable of fitting the bill. He looks most similar.
I gotta. Oh man, oh man.
No, that's not actually too bad.
I gotta break it to you, buddy. Jack, you almost did it with Michael Fassbender, but
You're going to give it to Bill Hader?
ladies and gentlemen,
How did I not?
Reese wins.
What?
Yeah, what?
Such a good pick.
Bill Hader actually is, though. Like, when you think about his acting
Reese already had 2 for 2 because he chose 2 of the greatest characters to play, and his Human Torch wasn't bad at all.
Jack just leaves.
So Reese, congratulations, you have won
Yeah.
this round of recast, and now
Now I have to judge the next one.
Jack.
The ironic part is that Kieran would probably play a better Mole Man than Bill Hader would.
That's the saddest, but true. I'd be happy being in the MCU with any.
So, this week's episode of Recast is slowly coming to a close with a bit of friendly banter, so I'm going to start to wrap things up here. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to stay tuned for the upcoming episodes of Recast. Next week, we'll be sticking with the Marvel Cinematic Universe and recasting the X-Men. If you want to learn more about us, check out the About the Casters episode on our podcast page, or check us out on Twitter and Instagram at podcast_recast. If you don't like the formatting of your current podcast platform, we are also available on YouTube, iTunes, and Spotify. Thanks for listening.